The unexpected wisdom of cracked pots, redefining self-control in an age of perfection. Scroll, double-tap, repeat. We're bombarded daily by a parade of seemingly perfect lives and effortless achievements. It's the soundtrack of our always-on, achievement-driven culture, and let's face it, it's exhausting. How are we supposed to keep up, let alone thrive, in a world that seems to value flawlessness above all else? If you've ever felt like you're drowning in a sea of unmet goals and mounting to-do lists, you're not alone. But what if I told you that our understanding of self-control and personal achievement has been fundamentally flawed?
Recent research challenges our long-held beliefs about willpower. It turns out that those who appear to have the strongest self-control aren't necessarily flexing superior mental muscles. Instead, they're playing an entirely different game, one of strategic avoidance and habit formation rather than constant, exhausting resistance.
Let me introduce you to Leo, a college student whose life might look familiar to many of us. Juggling academics, a part-time job, and attempts at a social life, Leo's desk resembled a battlefield of good intentions gone awry. Crumpled papers and empty energy drink cans crowded neglected to-do lists. Yet amidst this chaos sat an unexpected source of wisdom, a simple cracked clay pot gifted by his grandmother.
Leo's grandmother, a woman who moved through life with a quiet grace that defied our modern obsession with speed, once said of the pot, "It holds more beauty than meets the eye."
At the time, these words meant little to Leo. Now, as he studied its weathered surface, a new understanding began to dawn. Leo's transformation didn't happen overnight. It unfolded gradually within the hushed confines of the university library.
He discovered that the environment itself, the gentle rustling of pages, the muted tapping of keyboards, the warm afternoon sunlight, created a sense of calm intentionality.
This setting didn't force productivity, it invited engagement. By choosing to study in the library, Leo was unknowingly practicing what researchers call meta-self-control.
This upstream decision minimized the need for downstream willpower depletion. It's like choosing to shop on a full stomach to avoid impulse buying junk food. You're setting yourself up for success before temptation even arises.
Embracing this new perspective, Leo began reshaping his habits. He swapped caffeine-fueled all-nighters for a consistent sleep schedule. His evening ritual of laying out running shoes for the next morning transformed a potential chore into an automatic win. It's like setting your coffee maker the night before, a small action that makes your future self's life easier. This shift aligns with a growing body of research distinguishing between effortful and effortless self-control. While we traditionally think of self-control as gritting our teeth to resist temptation, studies now suggest that individuals with high-trait self-control actually experience fewer temptations in their daily lives.
They're not constantly fighting battles, they're avoiding wars altogether.
As Leo cultivated these small but impactful habits, he noticed a remarkable change. The setting sun was no longer a source of anxiety about unfinished work. Instead, it became a reassuring reminder that growth, like the turning of the earth, isn't linear but cyclical.
Some days you're productive, some days you're not, and that's okay.
Leo realized that true self-control wasn't about eradicating his imperfections or forcing himself into a mold of constant productivity. It was about becoming a thoughtful curator of his own energy and attention. Instead of waging war against his tendency to procrastinate, he sought to understand it.
He recognized that the constant ping of notifications was draining his focus, so he implemented strategic periods of digital silence.
Throughout this journey, the cracked clay pot remained a constant presence on Leo's desk. What once seemed like a simple, imperfect object now served as a powerful metaphor. The pot's cracks, rather than detracting from its value, added character and spoke to its resilience.
Similarly, Leo began to see that his own perceived flaws weren't weaknesses to be eliminated, but potential sources of strength and uniqueness.
This shift in mindset aligns with research suggesting that trait self-control is more strongly associated with automatic behaviors rather than consciously controlled ones. It's not about constantly making the right choice. It's about making the right choice automatic. So what can we learn from Leo's journey and the cracked pot wisdom? 1. Design your environment. Set yourself up for success by creating spaces that naturally encourage your desired behaviors. 2. Build positive habits. Focus on small, consistent actions that align with your goals. Over time, these become effortless routines. 3. Practice self-compassion. Recognize that perfection is a myth. Your flaws may be the very things that make you unique and resilient. 4. Understand your rhythms. Work with your natural energy cycles rather than against them. 5. Curate your attention. Be intentional about where you direct your focus. Sometimes the most productive thing you can do is turn off notifications. Remember, true self-control and personal growth aren't about achieving flawlessness or constantly battling against our nature. They involve understanding our unique rhythms, strategically designing our environments, and cultivating habits that align with our goals and values. As you navigate the challenges of modern life, with its constant pressures and ever-present distractions, consider this. What are the cracked pots in your life? Where do your unique imperfections allow your inner light to shine most brilliantly? By embracing these aspects of ourselves and approaching self-control with greater wisdom and self-compassion, we open the door to a more authentic and sustainable form of personal success, one that values progress over perfection and recognizes the beauty in our inherent humanity. In a world obsessed with filtered perfection, perhaps the most radical act is to embrace our beautifully imperfect selves. After all, it's often through the cracks that the light shines most brightly.